an idea that was conceived actually by my close friend Dr. Tzvi Katz over a year ago, comes to fruition today, and the members of the board that are present here today, I knew before hearing the introduction of each one of you, and the words that you chose to speak about yourselves, but I think that the wealth of work for the Jewish people that is convened in this room is almost unparalleled. And the fact that all of you, distinguished members of the Jewish community in Mexico, took the time and had the energy to work for what I consider, with all due subjectivity, a very important institution in the center of Jerusalem. In the next 15 minutes or so, I will try to demonstrate to you the central role that we play in the healthcare system in Israel in general and serving the Jerusalem community in particular. I would like to thank very much Carol, who took on herself a couple of months ago to organize the board and to head and steer our activity here, and Elias Pascha for agreeing to be the chairman of the board. I mean, to work with a man who devoted 50% of his time for 7 years in order to design, without pay, pro bono, what I saw in the Kochab wedding a couple of nights ago, a magnificent facility, the Magen David congregation, is really heart-moving. I am not going to diminish the achievement of the philanthropic community in the United States, where I work, with whom I work very closely. But I don't think I witnessed really such wealth and devotion. And we heard Mr. Kochav's introduction, and the multitude of projects, and the emotions with which you give, and you give to the community. And that applies to each and every one who sits around this table. And I thank you very, very much for being here today. I would like, as a newly formed board, to try and tell you a little bit about the activity of Shaare Zedek in Jerusalem. So Shaare Zedek today is a 1,000-bed hospital. It was founded by German Jews who convened in Frankfurt in 1873 and decided that Jerusalem of that time needed a modern hospital outside the walls of the old city. It took them 29 years to raise the funds and build our facility on Jaffa Road, our old facility, one of the most beautiful, please, if you can go, I can change it from here. You can go to the next slide. It's okay. On Jaffa Road, today it houses the Israel Broadcast Authority, and in 1979 we moved to the facility that you see here, which is located in the center of the city. I mentioned earlier today, I know that many of you come from the real estate world, and you used to say that there are 3 top priorities in real estate: location, location, location. In medicine, location is the number 2 priority. Where the hospital is located and its ability to serve all those who need its services has to do with its location. But before location, we need to be very professional, we need to have the best physicians, and we need to have compassion. These are higher priorities, and it has been the tradition of Shaare Zedek. When it grew during the last 20 years from a 300-bed hospital to 1,000-bed hospital, in a small 300-bed community hospital, it's very easy to preserve the family atmosphere, the compassion, the humane, individualized care. It's much more difficult when you move to become a huge hospital. And again, with all due subjectivity, I believe that every patient in Shaare Zedek, and I'm here also to welcome the ambassador of Israel, His Excellency Jonathan Pered, who had one of his children born at Shaare Zedek and knows our hospital. And I believe that this is our banner: top professionalism with empathic, humane, individualized care. What you see in this picture now are the campus at Shaare Zedek in Beit Vagan, across the street from Mount Herzl. To give you an idea, President Clinton and King Hussein used our heliport when they came to the funeral of our Prime Minister Rabin back in 1995. So we are centrally located, we are very accessible, and the people of Jerusalem love us, as you will see in the next few slides. But before that, 3 years ago, the government asked us to take over an old facility, Bikur Cholim Hospital, which is located in the center of the city. We have a maternity there now. This hospital serves mainly the people of Mea Shearim, the ultra-Orthodox people of Jerusalem, because they live around this hospital. Many of them are very poor. They cannot afford the cab or the transportation, although Jerusalem now has a very inexpensive light train that connects the two hospitals. Not many people can afford to go the 2 miles to the main campus, so we serve this needy community in the center of town. Next slide, please, Carol. So some facts about Shaare Zedek. I already said that we have 1,000 beds, and you can see the number of admissions. These are usually the figures that define the size of the hospital. But to show you the dynamics, if I can have the next slide, Shira. Thank you. So you can see the development of the hospital in 1 decade. From 2005 to 2015, we doubled the number of beds, we almost doubled the number of annual admissions to the hospital, we more than doubled the number of deliveries. Now I want to say, I am sure that around this table there are different political views, maybe to the right, to the left. We believe that politics stops at the doorstep of the hospital. We treat everybody who comes to us. These days we are very busy to take care of the victims of terror in Jerusalem, but because 34% of the people of Jerusalem are Arabs residing in the east part of the city, when they come to us, we take care of them. They do not compose 34% of our patients because in the East City there are 3 or 4 community hospitals where usually Jews don't go, and for simple cases the Arabs take care of themselves. But for complex problems, whether it is a complicated high-risk pregnancy or a severe heart problem that needs complex surgery, they will come to us and they will be treated gladly and with the same compassion as we treat Jews. And I really consider Shaare Zedek also as a haven for peace. Unfortunately, we are far from peace in Israel, but the harmony that you see even during these days, I think is exemplary. You can see the number of operations that was doubled, the number of outpatient clinic visits that was quadrupled, emergency room visits. We are by far the largest emergency room in the city. Mr. Bochav, you spoke very emotionally about your activity with Hatzalah. Hatzalah in Jerusalem and Magen David in Jerusalem, 2 terms that you are very close to. Magen David from your congregation and Hatzalah from your charity, they bring about 300 patients a day, these ambulances, to our emergency room in the center of the city. And as you can see, we published in 2015 330 scientific papers, because I believe the mission of every hospital in the world is quadruple: to save lives, to alleviate pain and suffering, and I'm talking about physical and emotional suffering, to train the next generation of medical students and nurses, and the 4th mission is to do research. We are very active in research. Few departments are world-leading in this type of research. You will hear from Sheila Katz in a few minutes some of the innovations that were made in Shaare Zedek in the field of genetics, where she is a researcher, and you will see even some opportunities for cooperation between Mexico and Israel in this field. Next slide, please. So what you see in the picture here is our head of the trauma unit, Dr. Ofer Marin, who is my deputy, and you're invited to read what Israel Hayom, one of the daily newspapers in Israel, wrote a quote from Ofer Marin, because because that's what characterizes our activity in Jerusalem today. And again, you are a board that are willing to help us to do fundraising in this country. And the number one project that I would like to offer this board is really to complete our trauma services with a new department of neurosurgery and neuroradiological, interventional neuroradiology, where we can save life of many patients. Many of them are terror victims. And you could see how our trauma unit today, under very unfortunate circumstances, became very famous in the state of Israel. Because this deputy of mine, Dr. Marin, unfortunately almost every evening, every Israeli citizen sees him on TV reporting on the situation of the wounded by terrorists, the stabbed and the shot victims of terror that are being treated at Shaare Zedek. Because of our central location, 80 to 85% of the severely wounded patients come to us. Because again, Hadassah has a superb trauma unit, and Hadassah is a very fine academic hospital. But they are located in the western outskirts of the city. It takes additional 10 minutes by ambulance to bring someone from Hebron, or from Gush Etzion, or from Shar Shechem, near the walls of the old city, to Hadassah. So although the city of Jerusalem boasts two excellent trauma units, we at Shaare Zedek find ourselves these days treating most of the severely wounded from the terrorist activities in Jerusalem, and we all hope that they will end soon. Hope and pray. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so you see what happens when a trauma victim comes to our trauma unit. This giraffe is an elaborate X-ray and ultrasound unit for a quick assessment to see if there is accumulation of blood in the belly or in the lungs, if he needs emergency treatment, and to be rushed to the operation theater. The next slide will show you some unpleasant pictures, but I was told that the Mexican community is strong and can contain it, just to share with you what we are going through every day in our emergency room. You can see here 4 demonstrations of knives that were stabbed into the lung, and on the upper right side, I don't have a pointer, but what you see is how the knife bent when it penetrated the spinal column, and it was really a miracle. I mean, this guy got his motor ability from God and from Shaare Zedek, because the knife bent and it circles the spinal cord. Had it penetrated, the physicians among you can see, had it penetrated the spinal cord, he would be paralyzed. It was very difficult to pull out the knife. We put this patient actually on 2 operation tables, and under control and surgery, we pulled slowly the knife out to control the bleeding. So this is the type of patients that we treat at Shaare Zedek today, and again, we are seeking to expand our services, to build more beds and recruit more physicians in the surgical departments, mainly in neurosurgery. Next slide, please. Okay, we just completed a building that we call the next generation building. Why the next generation? It's the happiest building in the hospital because it contains everything that has to do with hope and with the next generation. On the upper floor, we have a maternity, and we deliver 22,000 babies a year. This city, I don't know what's the exact population of Mexico City, I don't know if anybody knows, but I heard figures that run from 20 to 24 million people. Israel has 8 million people. We deliver at Shaare Zedek 13% of the babies born in Israel annually, 22,000 every year. I am unaware of a hospital in Mexico City that maybe the physicians can educate me, that have even half of this number annually. So this is a happy department. Below that, we have a neonatal intensive care unit. You will see pictures in a few minutes. Hold it for a minute, and that's in the new building. Then we have 2 floors of children's hospital that offers hope to children with acute or with chronic disease, a huge pediatric dialysis unit, and underneath we have our fertility unit. In the fertility unit, we offer hope to people who have problems, suffer from infertility. The science of assisted reproduction. Infertility today is so advanced that almost every couple who desires to have children can have children with the help of this modern medicine. And you will hear from Shira how we not only bring children to the world, children to parents who have difficulties to conceive, difficult to become pregnant, but we also prevent genetic diseases by seeing to it to a technology called PGD, pre-implantation genetic diagnosis, a cooperation between the in vitro fertilization unit and the genetics department. We can prevent the birth of children affected with serious diseases. You will hear all about it from Shira. You see the aesthetics that we put emphasis. This is the porch, the veranda of the hospital. Another, next slide please. Now we'll go quicker. This is the waiting area in the children's hospital. Again, we have a distinguished architect here. I don't know what you think about it, but I think the choice of color, you can see the child friendliness that is in the design of this children's hospital. The cost of the whole building was $120 million, and it was all from fundraising around the world during 7 years. Generosity of friends around the world who will change the future of the children of Jerusalem. Next slide, please. Here you see one cubicle in our pediatric intensive care unit. Next slide, please. You see the modern technology and also the nice-looking nurses and technicians that we recruit to Shaare Zedek. Next slide, please. This is one of 70 bassinets. You see it's number 10 in our NICU. NICU stands for Neonatal Intensive Care Units. Babies that are born low birth weight or very low birth weight, sometimes 1 pound, half a kilogram, so 750 grams. We have these ultra-modern incubators called giraffes because they go up and down, and we try to save lives. And again, the size, we have 70 such positions in a 3,000 square meter floor that contains our neonatal intensive care. Next slide. Okay, we have modern technology, MRI and PET-CT. Every modern hospital has it. It's not something unique, but again, this was all bought from generosity of friends around the world. The board of directors of Shaare Zedek, where Dr. Tzvi Katz is a member, expects me, correct me if I'm wrong, Tzvi, to balance the operating budget from the reimbursement that we get from the medical insurers for treating patients. But for development, for capital projects, to replace an MRI machine that became obsolete after 7 or 10 years, we are dependent on generosity of friends around the world, and that's the purpose of this office here that will be headed by Carol. Next slide, please. Okay, we introduced last week a robot, Da Vinci, to do urological, complex urological surgery. Next slide, please. And these are our new units. As I said, we are establishing these days a new stroke unit, and if you could get help to buy the equipment, we'd be very grateful. Interventional neuroradiology, where patients with strokes, the thrombus, the clot, can be removed from an artery in the brain. Again, a technology that is practiced in every modern hospital and the Department of Neurosurgery. Next slide, please. Okay, a few words about research. Who you see in the picture here, in the upper picture you see Professor Alberto Gabizon. Professor Alberto Gabizon invented the medication called Doxil. Doxil, it is liposomal doxorubicin.